Welcome back. It's been a bit, but we are still having Dragon Age as our game of the month. We'll call it our April May game. And today we are finally getting into my favorite part of learning any new tabletop system. We're going to go through and take you step by step how to build a character utilizing the Dragon Age rules. So if you're a player, you're going to feel confident rocking up to the table with your brand new PC. And if you're a DM, GM, you'll feel confident kind of guiding your players through the process and knowing what questions and areas they may need some additional help with. So let's dive right into it. And one thing I'll mention too with the Dragon Age system, it's not a very hard system to pick up the character creation aspect. It's easier than like a D&D or a Pathfinder, but definitely has more meat on the bones than like a PBTA or kind of one of the lighter systems. It's one that if you kind of read the chapter through and spend probably about a half hour with building your first PC, you should be sort of done and feel confident in the character that you've built. So let's get into it. So one of the nice things too, they've got a little handy list with steps 1 through 8 of what you need to do to build your character. The first one, like most systems, recommends coming up with a concept. If you've watched the channel, you probably realize a lot of times I usually go for martial characters or Gishy characters when I'm building through for the PCs. But for Dragon Age, one of my favorite things with the world, is their magic system and kind of the inherent risks that mages pose, both to themselves and the world. So for our guy, we're going to name him Akel. He's going to be an apostate mage. Also, a city elf that was he kind of learned magic on the fly as he's trying to survive in a world that doesn't really want him around, both for being a mage and an elf. So we're going to make sure he's got good magical skills. We're going to make him pretty smart too, pretty cunning and able to kind of pick up on things quickly, as well as just got to make sure he's got some cool magical spells in his arsenal to be able to bust out when he needs to. All right, so let's dive into it. So the next piece, we've got to go through and determine our attributes. With this system, the recommended path is rolling 3d6 down the line and being able to swap out one. There's also, if you look on the next page, options for arranging your abilities or just doing point buy. For Akel, we went through the standard process. Typically, I'm the point buy guy. If I was building a character for an actual game, or even just working with my players, I would allow them point buy, or the buying abilities option, I should say. But for this one, we did roll it. Hell was not blessed by fortune. Uh, He like even with the stats, his highest is 12. He's got three 12s that he rolled for the 3d6, but then his lowest was a 9. So if you go through, you see when you get your 3d6 roll, you go to this table and get to see what that starting ability equals. So we got 12, 3 times actually, so kind of good on that, but not really super high, which would translate out to a +2. With those three, we're going to put that in willpower, which as you go up here, willpower is going to be kind of your mental toughness, discipline. We're going to put it in magic, it's going to determine your innate arcane power, and then cunning. And then also, I should kind of shout out the skills they've got, or the attributes they've got there. You've got communication, which is kind of how you handle interactions, kind of how charming you can be. Constitution is how hardy, how tough you are. Cunning, kind of how intelligent and knowledgeable. Dexterity, how quick you are. Your perception, just how much you notice things. And then strength as well, which strength's easy. Physical prowess, and then your willpower, which is kind of your mental toughness. So for our guy, we're going to be prioritizing willpower and magic due to him being a mage, and then cunning just because I think that's a good fit for Akel. So now that we've got that, we've got our ability modifiers on that. It's a fairly straightforward process, even if you do the rolled straight down the line. So after that, we're going to go into backgrounds. Now, for those who are used to like D&D, Pathfinder, some of the D20 systems, you may think the backgrounds are more of a minor piece. For this system, for the Dragon Age, backgrounds are a huge portion of determining what your ancestry, your race will be, as well as what class you are, and gives you some starting attributes too. So definitely go through when you're picking this and kind of make sure you pay attention to your background. I know, especially coming from 5e, it can be easy to kind of put that just for something minor, but this is something that's really going to be a big selection for your character. So for our guy, we got to keep it easy. I wanted him to be an apostate, a mage on the run, and that is one of the backgrounds. So you'll see with this, it gives you the option between the elf background as well as a human, or say race option. So we're going to be an elf apostate. And with this too, for the backgrounds, you get a couple of bonuses that come inherently, and you also get to roll on the table twice. So for our guy, we get willpower as a +1, so that bumps our willpower up to a 13, which I think is still a +2. We get to pick between the following ability focuses. I'm going to give him willpower, self-discipline, and then we're picking an elf, and we get locked into the mage class due to apostate. So with that, we're going to roll through our D6s on this. You roll 2d6, and I got a +1 to magic, which will definitely help. And then I also got the cunning cultural lore focus. I get to add those to our apostate. So with that, fairly straightforward on those sides. You get some cool benefits. But after that, you get to go through and pick your class. With the Dragon Age system, very similar to the video game, there are three core classes. The Rogue, which is kind of your very similar to D&D, kind of your sneaky archetype, which is a lot of different skills they can bring to bear. Your Mage, your Magic user, and then your Warrior, your Fighter type class. So with this, we're going Mage. Uh, And with your class, you get to pick, it gives you a number of different attributes for choosing it. You get to choose your, or you get to find your primary and secondary attributes. You see, for our guy, it lines up with the Kel's kind of background. He's got cunning, magic, willpower, and then with the other ones being bumped to secondary attributes. It also determines your health. So you get 20 plus your constitution plus a d6. We had a zero or for our constitution, so we rolled 20. Sorry, we had a 1 for our constitution. So we rolled the 1d6, got a 3, and 24 total health. You also get to go through and pick your weapon groups. So brawling, just kind of hand to hand combat, and then staves for mages. With this too, you get the arcane lance, which allows you to kind of cast your magic through your staff as one of your level 1 abilities. You get the magic training piece, which allows you to gain 3 spells, which we'll go through and pick out in a second, showing you how you select spells utilizing this system. You also get mana points. So with that, you roll 10 plus 1d6 plus your magic. So we rolled 10 on that. So we got our +10 for that. We had a 3 in magic. And then we get a +2 from our d6 roll. That's a dice we're not feeling a Kel throughout this process. You also get to pick a starting talent. So for the mages, you get to choose between Chirurgy? I probably butchered that. Shout in the comments if you know how to pronounce that one. Linguistics or lore. Chirurgy, I looked it up, is healing. So I decided that'd be kind of a cool thing for him to have, as being maybe a little bit of a backdoor healer when he needs a little extra coin to survive on the road. So with that, we've got our kind of our class features picked out. We're going to go to the next spot where we get to pick our equipment. So the equipment here, you get to start with what your class gives you. So we're a mage, so we get one weapon and a staff for free. So I picked a dagger as well as a staff. I think that would fit a cow as having a kind of a little ornate dagger that you can hide and pull out when need be. And each class gets something special. So rogues get light armor, and then 2 weapons. Warriors, you get heavy leather armor, and then 3 weapons. And if you get a bow, you get some arrows as well. So with that too, you also get to go through and figure out how many silver pieces that you get to start with. So it's 50 plus 3d6. We rolled somewhat decently for this. We got 67 total on that side. I think that was our best 3d6 roll that we had throughout this process. So we get to get good starting gold that we or silver, I should say, that we can go through and pick some stuff. So I won't go through that portion for you, but they do have a pretty robust equipment section. We can go through and add additional pieces. But the next piece we're going to go through for our character build process are kind of determining our base speed as well as our base defense. So for defense, it equals 10 plus your dexterity plus shield bonus. We can't wield a shield, so it makes that fairly easy. Dexterity, we got a +1 in our attribute, so our defense will be 11. Speed is also going to be a mixture of dexterity minus your armor penalty along with your ancestry too. So our guy's an elf, so he's going to be fairly quick. Unfortunately, dexterity, we didn't get a great roll for that, so it is just a 1, so our speed will be 13. And since we're a mage, we can't wear armor. It's just going to be a straight 13. So nothing too crazy. That's why I mentioned earlier. It's like Even if you were playing this one straight by hand and paper and not using a virtual tabletop, these ones are very easy to kind of go through and calculate out. I know for some of the systems we've even played throughout this channel, there could be more intricate calculations. This is just one you can kind of go through and pretty much eyeball it as you go. And the next piece that we're going to get into are kind of more RP or the kind of character building and connecting focuses. So one of the things I like when systems encourages, or actually not even encourages, mandates that players build goals and ties into their PCs. This system does that as well. As a PC, you're supposed to start with three goals, mixture between, I think they recommended two short-term goals and one long-term, but definitely kind of a mixture between the two on that side. And then you're supposed to go through and build ties. So if you had a four-person table, you're supposed to go through and build at least one thing that ties you to each PC. It could be something like you lived in the same village, trained with the same army, maybe you have the same enemy, just anything that could be fun and going through and just really kind of making sure that the players are tied to each other and have some reason to adventure together beyond just meeting in a tavern. And I always appreciate when systems do that, just to give you a little extra look on kind of why the group is the way they are. That's kind of the big piece on that side. We've gone through, we built our PC. The only thing that we've got left for Kel is to go through and pick what magic he has access to. So let's get to the spell section. So one thing that's interesting with this one, and that may throw some people off, is that with this system, it's not going to be like levels or ranks of spells that you have access to. Typically, unless there's a requirement on there, you should be able to access any spell. The big thing that's going to be to show up is you're going to see the requirement, and those are typically going to be another spell that you need to have known to be able to learn the spell. So very similar. If you play the Dragon Age games, they're set up the same way. You just need to kind of know those requirements and have that available. So for our guy, I wanted him to be fire focused. So we got three spells we can pick from. So two of them are fire focused. One I wanted to play it a little bit safe. So I got Arcane Bolt. With the spells, you see they've got kind of the type of spell it is, the action cost, the target number, all of that, and what the test needs to be for whoever's resisting it. With this too, so we're gonna pick Arcane Bolt. There's no requirements for it, and get to go on to our next one. The next spell is Flame Blast. So I said I wanted some cool fire stuff. There's no requirement for this one. It's kind of the first in line for the fire spells, and gives us a ranged fire blast that we can bust out. So now with that, we are going to go into some of the other ones. This is one of my favorite ones for being able to bust out in the video games, flaming weapons. You see, it does have a requirement for this one, which is Flame Blast. It allows me to turn the readied melee weapons of my allies into fiery weapons, which I think is a cool one, and I always love the flavor for the game. I thought it was nice to be able to bring that into this system too. Yeah, overall, we've got our PC built. We've got a Kel. He's an apostate mage from Elvish descent. Uh, he's a mage class. We got his attributes, which weren't that great. His spells, his equipment, everything that we need to do to play. And as I said, this one wasn't too crazy. I mean, we went through. I think it's one of our shorter character build episodes. So definitely, it's one of those ones that if you don't like too much crunch, this can be a great fit for you. But for those that are worried that there's not enough, there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do with it too, and really kind of customize and flavor out your PC. Our next video, which I'm hoping to have up this Wednesday, we're going to be going through and building or not building, we're going to be going through and looking at the core mechanics of the system, showing you how to roll the dice, how to handle the tests, in which the system calls their checks, how to handle combat, pretty much everything that you need to know to be able to adventure in this system and feel confident running or playing it. So keep an eye out for that. But overall, I'm happy to be back at it. We had a little bit of a hiatus. April and May were kind of a crazy month for me, both work and personal wise. So I'm happy to be back and getting some new tabletop RPGs out there. So definitely drop a like and throw a comment down for one of your favorite things with building in the system for character builds or even just some of the different options you like or shout out some of the character builds you've done in the system. I'd love to kind of see what other people have done with the Dragon Age, which is built off of the uh, Green Ronin's Age system, which has got modern, fantasy, and a couple others I'm blanking on. Yeah, thanks for listening. Till next time.